Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to Urdu Seekhiye. My name is Shireen and this is episode number 17. Before we start today, I just want to take a minute to share that in addition to Urdu, I've also been learning Spanish. I have this amazing teacher named Regina from Mexico. If you happen to also be learning Spanish or know someone who's learning it and needs a tutor, I highly recommend contacting her. She has excellent rates and she's a fabulous teacher. She makes you feel at ease from the start. I'll put her information on the page for episode 17. If you have any questions about my language learning experience, let me know. With that, let's start today's episode. I'm happy to welcome back Sara to the podcast.
Assalamu alaikum, Shireen and everybody. How have you been?
Well, unlike you, I'm among the lucky ones. You reminded me that your husband is a doctor, and to be honest, I didn't want to instill fear in you, so I didn't give you a strong reaction, but my heart definitely fell. He's among the medical workers who's in the front lines, so that's definitely scary. So the damage that I didn't do during our phone call yesterday, I'm doing now.
But the thing is, doctors are not the only people who are working at the front lines. It's also the janitors, the garbage collectors, the nurses, the paramedics, restaurant workers, all of these people that normally we don't really consider them important. But with the pandemic going on, we realize that they're actually really essential and that we should appreciate them.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But it is important to not let fear take control. And I do feel like you're a relatively calm person, so I definitely appreciate your energy. Anyway, we're younger, so I'm hopeful that we'll be okay. But I am trying to stay home as much as possible. Besides, I'm a homebody, so personally, it doesn't feel like a big change until I turn on the news. How about you? How are you holding up?
It's kind of the same with me because I also like staying at home, watching Netflix, painting, or just Instagramming. But these days, when I open up Instagram or Facebook, any of the social media sites, then it's always like I get worried when I open these sites, but when I'm not on them, like when I'm just doing my own thing, I'm fine because I feel like people are spreading a lot of panic.
Totally.
I feel like a lot of people are just home, so they have a lot of time on their hands to panic. Otherwise, when you're at work, you're like, I mean, you have a lot of stuff to do. Like, your minds aren't idle.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, yeah, what else is there to do? So, yeah, it's just a vicious cycle. So, today, in relation to this, we're going to talk about health. We're going to show you how you can ask someone how they are doing and whether they are taking the necessary precautions recommended by the experts. So, let's get started. Let's hear the dialogue at normal speed. आपकी तबीयत कैसी है?
मेरी तबीयत बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन मेरी बेटी थोड़ी बीमार है।
अच्छा, क्या हुआ उसे?
उसे नजले जैसा कुछ हुआ है। दवाई दी है डॉक्टर ने, कुछ ही दिनों में ठीक हो जाएगी।
इंशाल्लाह। सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं ना? और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं?
जी बिल्कुल, और हम सब जितना भी हो सके घर में रहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
अच्छी बात है। ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है।
Now we'll slow it down.
आपकी तबीयत कैसी है?
मेरी तबीयत बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन मेरी बेटी थोड़ी बीमार है।
अच्छा, क्या हुआ उसे?
उसे नजले जैसा कुछ हुआ है। दवाई दी है डॉक्टर ने, कुछ ही दिनों में ठीक हो जाएगी।
इंशाल्लाह। सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं ना? और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं?
जी बिल्कुल, और हम सब जितना भी हो सके घर में रहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
अच्छी बात है। ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है। Now Sara will say the Urdu lines and I'll translate them.
आपकी तबीयत कैसी है?
How is your health?
मेरी तबीयत बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन मेरी बेटी थोड़ी बीमार है।
My health is absolutely fine. but my daughter is a little sick.
अच्छा, क्या हुआ उसे?
Really? What happened to her?
उसे नज़ले जैसा कुछ हुआ है। दवाई दी है डॉक्टर ने, कुछ ही दिनों में ठीक हो जाएगी।
She has something like the cold. The doctor has given us medicine. In a few days, she'll be fine.
इंशाल्लाह, सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं ना? और अपने चेहरे को हाथ तो नहीं लगा रहे हैं?
God willing. Everyone is washing their hands, right? And not touching their faces?
जी, बिल्कुल। और हम सब जितना भी हो सके घर में रहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Yes, definitely. We all, as much as possible, are trying to stay at home.
अच्छी बात है। ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है।
That's great. This is not only good for you, but also good for others.
Okay, now we will discuss each line in more detail. So the first line is आपकी तबीयत कैसी है? आपकी is the possessive pronoun. It means yours. तबीयत means health and कैसी है means how is it? So the full question आपकी तबीयत कैसी है means how is your health?
So I have to confess, I've never pronounced the word tabiat properly. I always said tabet, like aapki tabet kaisi hai? And that's how I feel I've heard others pronounce it. Or maybe when people say it really fast, that's just what it sounds like.
There are a lot of words that we pronounce in ways that are not standard. The Punjabi language has a huge influence on our Urdu accents in Pakistan, especially in the northern half of country. I think that's why maybe you pronounce tabiyat the way you do. But it's not a big deal really, as there are so many different accents of Urdu in Pakistan. Our listeners should take this as an encouragement. They shouldn't feel nervous about mispronouncing words, as native speakers do so themselves.
That's a very good point. I can be very picky about pronouncing words correctly. I'll keep this in mind too and be a bit more relaxed going forward. Okay, so next we have मेरी तबीयत बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन मेरी बेटी थोड़ी बीमार है. So मेरी तबीयत again means my health. बिल्कुल ठीक means absolutely fine. है is our to be verb, meaning is. Then we have लेकिन मेरी बेटी थोड़ी बीमार है. लेकिन is a conjunction meaning but, and beti means daughter. And because beti is feminine, we'd say thodi.
That's right. If it were beta, son, then we'd say mera beta thoda bimar hai. And bimar means sick. Then Shirin asked, Acha, kya hua use? So kya hua means what happened. This question doesn't change no matter who is speaking or who is being spoken to. Use means to her. Kya hua use means what happened to her. If you were referring to the son instead of the daughter, the same question would be asked. Kya hua use? So it means what happened to him or what happened to her.
Next we have usse nazle jaisa kuch hua hai. Notice we start with the pronoun usse, referring to the daughter. Nazle jaisa. So nazla means cold. Although when I looked it up in my Urdu book, the word for cold there is zukam. I've definitely heard this word, but haven't ever used it. And I thought it had an H sound in it. I've always heard it as zukam.
I have always said zukam, but I know what you mean.
What are some other words that might be used to talk about sickness?
We could use the word bukhar. Bukhar means fever. Another symptom they're reporting is coughing. So cough is khasi and to cough is khasna, or we can say khasi ana. To say I'm coughing a lot, you might say मुझे बहुत खांसी आ रही है या मैं बहुत खांस रही हूँ. Notice that there is a silent N in the word khasi. You'll see a dot on top of the N in the transliteration. So in Urdu, that letter is a noon gunna.
And how would we say shortness of breath?
I think most closely it would be सांस लेने में मुश्किल. सांस लेने में मुश्किल means shortness of breath.
Are there any other words that you'd like us to share? Be sure to go to our website and leave us a message in the discussion section. Getting back to our dialogue, so the phrase is nazle jaisa. Jaisa means like. So Sara is saying the daughter has something like the cold. It's flu-like.
Let's give another example with the word jaisa. So if I wanted to say there is no one like him or her, the phrase is उसके जैसा कोई नहीं. This means there is no one like her or there is no one like him. Us is a pronoun that means him or her.
So the remainder of the line is उसे नज़ले जैसा कुछ हुआ है. Kuch means something. Hua hai means has happened. So उसे नज़ले जैसा कुछ हुआ है means she has something like a cold. Then we have दवाई दी है डॉक्टर ने. Dawai means medicine. It's a good word to know. Di means give. The root verb is dena, which means to give. And the postposition ne is added after the subject, and it means by. So, dawai di hai doctor ne means the medicine was given by the doctor, or the doctor has given us medicine.
Another way of saying this sentence is डॉक्टर ने दवाई दी है. डॉक्टर ने दवाई दी है. Another example of a sentence with the postposition ne is मैंने पैसे दिए. मैंने पैसे दिए. This means I gave the money, or the money was given by me. The final part of the previous line is कुछ ही दिनों में ठीक हो जाएगी. Kuch, as we said earlier, means some. Din means day. To make it plural, we say dino. May means in, and teek means fine. Ho jayegi can mean it will happen, but here it means will become. So kuch hi dinon mein theek ho jayegi means she will be fine in a few days.
That's right. And I do want to point out the pronunciation of the word doctor. So the way it's written in Urdu, it should be doctor, but more commonly these days you'll hear people just saying doctor. And you'll notice we even said it as doctor in the dialogue. All right, so let's move on. Then we have inshallah. सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं ना? और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं? Let's start with inshallah. You might notice the word Allah in this word. We discussed this word in episode 7. Allah is the Arabic word for God. And inshallah is also an Arabic word. This is a common word used by Muslims all around the world, and it means God willing. So Sara said, Kuch hi dinon mein theek ho jayegi. To that I responded, inshallah, meaning God willing. You also might hear two people talking, and one of them says, so I'll see you at Ali's birthday dinner next week? And the person might respond, inshallah. It's kind of an easy way to not give a direct answer. Maybe they intend to go to this dinner, but, they don't want to commit, so they might just say inshallah. Let us know if you have any friends who use the word inshallah a little too much.
Then we have सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं ना. सब लोग means everyone. Hath means hand. Hath is one of those words that can remain the same even if you're talking about one hand or two hands. Dho means wash. The root verb is dhona, meaning to wash. Rahe is used to indicate the present continuous tense. So dho rahe hain means are washing. And na is just like a filler word, but here it helps to turn this sentence into a question. It means, right? Sab log haath dho rahe hain na? Without the na, it would be more of a statement and not a question. Shireen, what's the other way to indicate that something is a question?
Well, I could have added the question word kya in front of it. So it would be क्या सब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं? Then we wouldn't have any reason to add the na at the end.
Exactly. That's the proper way to ask a question.
Next is the question. और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं? और, we know, means and. अपने means your own. So, अपने चेहरे means your face. But since I'm talking to Sara about her family, अपने चेहरे here means their own faces. Their faces. Ko is a postposition, and here it's used to help us understand what it is we're referring to. So, हाथ नहीं लगाना is the request. हाथ नहीं लगाना means do not touch. If I say to you, हाथ नहीं लगाना, that means do not touch. If I want to tell you what it is that you shouldn't touch, then I need को. चेहरे को हाथ नहीं लगाना. Because I'm asking about Sara's whole family, I'm asking, और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं? This रहे indicates the present continuous tense. और अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं means, and they aren't touching their faces?
What about the to, Shirin?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to explain the significance of to. To can also mean so or therefore, but that's not how it's being used here.
Let's give a few examples of where else we might use to in the same way. For example, it's often added to questions where you want to confirm something. They're not leaving the house, are they? घर से बाहर तो नहीं निकल रहे हैं. घर से बाहर तो नहीं निकल रहे हैं. दूसरों से 6 फुट दूर तो रह रहे हैं ना?
So technically, you could remove the to, and it would still be just fine. It's added for emphasis. It's almost like saying surely. Like, surely they're not leaving the house. Surely they're staying 6 feet away from others. Surely they're not touching their faces. अपने चेहरे को तो हाथ नहीं लगा रहे हैं?
Okay, let's keep moving. So I respond, जी, बिल्कुल. This means yes, of course. और हम सब जितना भी हो सके घर में रहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. हम सब means we all. जितना भी हो सके is a phrase. And जितना भी हो सके means as much as possible. घर means home or house. में is a postposition meaning in. Rehna means to stay. And because I'm talking about my whole family, I say rehne. If you remember from a previous episode, koshish karna means to try. And often the postposition ki is added before koshish. Ki means off. It's like saying the trying of something. Ghar mein rehne ki koshish, the trying of staying home. Rahe hain means is happening. So what is happening?
Them trying to stay home. So, और हम सब जितना भी हो सके घर में रहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं means we all are trying as much as possible to stay in the home. And again, you know that it's in the present continuous because of the word rahe. Then I responded, अच्छी बात है. ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है. Achhi means good. Baat means thing or matter. And hai is our to be verb, meaning is. So achhi baat hai means that's a good thing.
So this sentence is similar to the not only but also sentence construction in English.
Right. For example, this is not only cheaper, but better.
Ah, good example. How would you say that in Urdu?
ये ना सिर्फ ज़्यादा सस्ता है, बल्कि ज़्यादा बेहतर भी है.
Right. Let's look at the first part of this construction. ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, ये means this. ना सिर्फ means not only. आपके लिए means for you. अच्छा है means is good. So, ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, means this is not only good for you, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है. बल्कि means but and दूसरों means others.
Again, note the nun gunna ending, that nasal N sound in the word दूसरों.
के लिए means for, as in for you, for her. भी means also, and अच्छा है, as we just learned, means is good. So ये ना सिर्फ आपके लिए अच्छा है, बल्कि दूसरों के लिए भी अच्छा है means this is not only good for you, but is also good for others.
Maybe some of you might be thinking, can I use lekin instead of balke? And the answer is no. Lekin does mean but it cannot be used in this type of sentence construction. I'm now wondering whether but is the best translation for balke. It might be better to say that balke means additionally or actually, as in, not only is it good for you, additionally it's good for others too. I know that sounds odd in English, but that might be the better translation for Urdu.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. So that's the entire dialogue. Before we end this, I wanted to bring up a few more words that might be useful to know related to this pandemic. If you visit the Instagram page of Words in Urdu, you will see the last two words are Mashrati Duri, and that means social distancing. Mashra means society, and Duri means distance. The other word they have is the word ihtiyat, that means caution.
Yes, ehtiyat is definitely a good word to know. It's often paired with the word se, which means with. So we would say ehtiyat se, with care or with caution. Right now, everyone's being advised to live with caution. Ehtiyat se rehna.
Oh, and one last word, khayal. It could mean thought or idea, but it could also mean care. So if someone says to you, apna khayal rakhna, they're saying take care of yourself.
Well, that does it for today's episode. Thank you very much for listening. Please be safe and take care.
Apna
अपना ख्याल रखना. फिर मिलेंगे. खुदा हाफिज़.